John Bones Jones, the greatest light heavyweight of all time. John Jones dominated every single opponent he faced with his world-class striking and his extremely high fight IQ. It is said that 99% of a fight is mental, and Jones supports that mantra. Once you give him an opening, it's lights out. But he can never beat the one opponent holding him back from greatness: himself. Jones was born on July 19, 1987 in Rochester, New York. His father, Arthur, is a pastor at Mount Sinai Church of God in Christ in Binghamton, New York. Arthur discouraged John's fighting career, as he is quoted saying, "I wanted him to preach. I tried to discourage him from being a fighter. I told him, you don't want to do that. You can do other things. Be a pastor." Jones would not heed his father's advice. Jones was a standout high school wrestler and a state champion at Union Endicott High School in upstate New York. He also played football as a D lineman. Due to his lanky body, his coach would nickname him Bones. Jones would then drop out of college to begin his MMA career. Jones made his professional MMA debut in April of 2008. He amassed an undefeated record of 6-0 in different promotions over a period of 3 months, winning all of his bouts by stoppage. Jones would make his UFC debut against Andre Gusmao at UFC 87. Jones would put on an impressive performance, using takedowns and displaying his unorthodox striking, landing spinning elbows and a spinning back kick. Jones would win the bout by unanimous decision. In his second UFC match, Jones took on the veteran Stephan Bonner. Jones would land a devastating back elbow, as well as executing strong takedowns, as well as throws, including a suplex. Jones would secure another unanimous decision victory. Jones's third fight was against Jake O'Brien at UFC 100. Jones would control the majority of the match and eventually secured a standing guillotine choke, causing O'Brien to tap out. On December 5th, 2009, Jones would fight fellow light heavyweight prospect Matt Hamill at the Ultimate Fighter Heavyweights finale. Despite dominating the fight, Jones would be disqualified for the use of multiple 12-6 elbows. Dana White stated that it should have been a no contest. Jones then fought Brandon Vera at UFC Live Vera vs. Jones. Jones would win the fight via TKO after an elbow to Vera's face, followed up with various punches in the first round, breaking Vera's face in 3 places. Jones defeated former IFL light heavyweight champion Vladimir Matushenko by TKO with elbows in the first round on August 1st of 2010. Following the match, Dana White stated that Jones is the real deal, and he just catapulted himself tonight into the top 8 in the world. He's smart, good looking, and badass. He's gonna make a lot of money. This kid is going to do very well. Jones would then face the undefeated Ultimate Fighter winner Ryan Bader. Jones would hand Bader his first professional loss, catching Bader in a guillotine choke in the second round after dominating Bader in the first. It was revealed that Jones's training partner Rashad Evans had sustained a knee injury in training and would not be able to compete in a scheduled match against light heavyweight champion Mauricio Shogun Rua. Jones's opportunity had presented himself. Jones would fill in for Evans, and after an early flying knee that badly hurt the champion, and a body shot and a knee to the head dropped the champion to his knees, causing the referee's stoppage and crowning Johnny Bones Jones the youngest ever UFC light heavyweight champion. John Jones made his first title defense against Quinton Rampage Jackson at UFC 135. Jones would catch Rampage in a rear naked choke in the 4th round, in the process becoming the first UFC fighter to submit Rampage Jackson. Jones then faced former UFC champion Lyoto Machida. Jones would stop Machida in the 2nd round via guillotine choke, causing Machida to collapse unconscious along the cage. Jones finally faced his arch-rival and former teammate Rashad Evans at UFC 145. This would be another dominant showing for Bones, as he would pick up the unanimous decision victory, defending his belt after controlling the fight for a full 5 rounds. Jones would then defend the championship against Vitor Belfort on September 22, 2012. Despite almost being submitted via armbar in round 1, Jones would fight out of it and defend his belt against Belfort via Americana submission in the 4th round. Jones was chosen to coach opposite Chael Sonnen on the 17th season of The Ultimate Fighter, with the bout between the coaches taking place on April 22nd of 2013. Jones would display a lack of interest in the bout and actively downplayed the contest, making it clear that he did not believe Sonnen was a fit contender. Jones would make quick work of his challenger, finishing Sonnen via TKO in the 1st round. With the win, Jones would tie Tito Ortiz for having the most consecutive title defenses in UFC light heavyweight history. John Jones would then face Alexander Gustafsson at UFC 165. The fight would quickly turn into an all-out brawl. Jones was badly cut above the eye during the 1st round, but he would win the back and forth via unanimous decision. After the match, both fighters would be sent to the hospital for their injuries, but were both quickly released with no broken bones or serious lasting injuries. Jones also stated that Gustafsson had given him his toughest fight of his career. Jones would then be pitted against Glover Teixeira at UFC 172. Jones would add another title defense under his belt, dominating the fight for 5 full rounds and picking up the unanimous decision victory. The bout between bitter rivals Daniel Cormier and Jones would take place on January 3rd, 2015. Jones would dominate the previously undefeated Cormier, picking up the unanimous decision victory after battering Cormier for 5 straight rounds. However, it was later revealed that Jones had failed a drug test 1 month prior to the event, as he tested positive for cocaine. This would only be the start of Jones's internal struggles getting in the way of his legacy. In a sad turn of events, Jones was stripped of the belt and suspended from the UFC indefinitely in connection with a hit and run incident where he crashed into a pregnant woman, then fled the scene on foot. The event happened on April 26th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. 6 months after the incident, on October 23rd of 2015, the UFC would announce that John Jones had been reinstated into the active roster. Jones would return to face Ovince St. Preux in an interim title bout. John would dominate St. Preux for 5 straight rounds, winning the bout via unanimous decision and claiming the interim light heavyweight title belt. The following year, Jones was removed from a bout against Cormier by USADA on June 16 after a potential doping violation. On November 7th of 2016, it was announced that Jones had been suspended for 1 year by USADA. Jones was also suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for 1 year. Jones would return to face Daniel Cormier in a rematch that took place on July 29, 2017 at UFC 214. The bout would go back and forth, with both men trading big shots. In the third round, Jon Jones would catch DC clean with a head kick, wobbling DC, then finishing him off with a barrage of strikes on the ground. Jones would defeat Cormier for the second time and recapture the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. On August 22nd, it was announced that Jones had been flagged for a potential doping violation by USADA, as he tested positive for turinabol, an anabolic steroid. As a result, the California State Athletic Commission would overturn the result of the DC fight into a no contest. Dana White would also strip Jones of the light heavyweight championship and return it to Cormier. The following month, it was announced by USADA that Jones would serve a suspension of 15 months. This would be Jones's third suspension of his young career. On October 10th of 2018, Jones would make his return at UFC 232 in a rematch with Alexander Gustafsson for the vacant UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. Jones would defeat Gustafsson via TKO in the third round to win the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. Jones would claim his spot at the top of the division once again. In the first title defense of his third championship reign, Jon Jones would face Anthony Smith on March 2nd of 2019. Jones would dominate the fight throughout, winning the lopsided unanimous decision. Jones then faced Thiago Santos in the main event at UFC 239. Both fighters would land during the fight. However, Jon would win the back and forth match via split decision, defending his title for the second time. Jon Jones then faced Dominic Reyes on February 8th, 2020 in the main event of UFC 247. The bout would be a razor-thin fight, with Reyes effectively applying pressure on Jones in the early rounds. However, Jones would rally, using his wrestling to gain an advantage, tiring out Reyes. After a close bout, Jones would win the fight via unanimous decision. On March 26th of 2020, Jon Jones would be arrested on suspicion of driving while under the influence and negligent use of a firearm, after officers heard a gunshot and found him in a parked car with a handgun and a half-empty bottle of liquor. The 32-year-old Jones also faces charges of possession of an open container of alcohol and no proof of insurance for a vehicle. Jon Jones is arguably the most skilled fighter to ever grace the UFC. With a record of 26-1 and 10 title defenses, Jones has a resume to be the greatest of all time. MMA careers are short and can down spiral abruptly, but the fact that Jones still holds the belt 9 years after first hoisting it is a true testament to the greatness of Johnny Bones Jones. As Jon Jones said, "If you never quit, it's never over." If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. More content coming shortly. Thank you so much for watching. This is MMA Plug signing off. Peace.